Greetings YouTube, Tim Cooper, Cooper's Automotive. We've got a 2001 Lincoln Continental, check engine lights on. The customer complains of, he said chugging feeling. So I drove it, feels like a misfire. So show you how we work through this and find out what the problem is. So follow me over here. First thing's going to be the scan test. I went ahead and booted up the scanner. We turned the key on here, and we'll read our diagnostic codes. See what we got. Right, we got a P1405 differential feedback EGR recirculation. That's probably carbon built up, stopping that up. And then we got a misfire detection, just kind of like I thought, cylinder number 1. So usually that's a coil pack. Or excuse me, it's got coilover plug, so that's usually a coil that's bad. So let's pull out that coil and test our power, make sure we got power, and then from there we'll probably wind up sticking a coil in it. So I'm going to remove this crossover bar. Firing order on this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on this engine. I'm just going to swing that over to the side. We got a little cover. Sits over the top with a couple bolts in it. Take those out. Number 1's, like I said, the front one up this side of the motor. Alright, get that cover out of there. And it's going to be, well, you know what? This one's been changed before. I heard a sloshing sound. We got moisture. The rust and moisture down inside that hole. That's probably why he's had this done. We got an antifreeze coming from somewhere, getting down inside of that. You can smell it. But, wow, I need to blow that out. Unplug this coil. Just chop here, blow that hole out of there. Alright, gotta get that antifreeze down of there. Then we've got to find out where that antifreeze came from. Okay, a little moisture, not as much as I expected to see, but I say, look at all that rust sitting around that coil boot. Man, you probably could just put but it's even wet up inside the coil. You can see tell you what, I stock these coils, since I've got it cleaned out. I'm going to nap apart number IC63. Like I said, I can test power to it. Let's just plug it in and start it up, see if the misfire's gone. Then we'll have to diagnose where the coolant, where that antifreeze is coming from. Probably check a couple of the other cylinders too and see if we got any moisture in those too. There we go. I'm gonna go hit the key. Let's see how this thing's running. See if I feel it jumping around like a little pony. Fire in the hole. That's obviously the problem. The misfire's gone. P14, whatever it was, I looked at that number again for the EGR. I'm going to have to look, see if the customer wants me to diagnose that. But a coil, and we're going to pick back up in a little bit. Let me find out where the coolant's coming from. Okay, we're back working on this Lincoln, and every one of the coils on the back are rusted up like that. So when I I've determined it's not actually antifreeze, it's water leaking down on top of it, even down inside of this cover. And I believe it's coming right through these bolt holes. We're going to seal these bolt holes up when we put this back together. And what you do is clean the remaining coils that actually tested good. I'm just using QD cleaner. Could use a lot of different things. Brake clean, maybe some penetrating oil or something, just anything. Clean those up. I blew all the holes out of all the cylinders. Got all the moisture out of every one of those. And we're going to do this because this video is going to be so short. We're going to also look at that EGR code just a little bit, see if we can diagnose that without going too crazy. We get those all cleaned up and put them back in. There we go. I mean, also doing the test too. Like, say the key's on right now. One of the things you do, you check to make sure you got 12 volts coming to your coils. 11.6, close enough. Just in case it wasn't a coil and it was a power problem or something like that. These coils have gotten relatively inexpensive anymore, so rather than running a lot of diagnostic and go, okay, we're going to check the primary side of the ignition system on it, it's easier to throw a coil in it and see if you fix the problem. What we'll do with this cover right here, reseal this thing. I'm not worried about this gasket. It's mostly this coming around right here. That's the only place I can see that it could get any moisture and get down inside of there. We'll let that set up a little bit. The front coil cover, I took the front one off, and if you pull these out, these are all original coils. Not a bit of moisture issues with those. There's nothing there that could just run down on top of them. So I just wanted you to see that. Pull that cover back up. Still loving this little 1/4 inch Milwaukee ratchet. Almost too strong. There we go. Now put this cover back on the rear. Let's see here. That actually what presses down on the coils. It holds them in place. But I'll make sure that these drains are working good up in this front of this part too. Make sure all that water's getting out of there. All right. I tried to cross thread it, take that out. Thought I had started it by now. Alright, we're going to come back to that. Talking about that EGR code, a couple things that can cause that. what I do first is see if the EGR has a diaphragm and it's vacuum operated. Make sure that it opens up, and I start the car, and then when I apply vacuum to it, you should notice a noticeable difference in the way the engine runs. So stay right here and start the car up. Also get the scanner set up, looking at the EGR feedback voltage. It's right the voltage it should be with the engine idling at 0.8, 0.9. We might be able to go into graphing with this. Let's see if we can. It's not letting us switch it, but I'm going to apply vacuum right down here. Little mighty little vacuum pump. The EGR of this car sits right back here. Shot of that. There's one hose that goes to it. It's always a green hose, and that's the EGR valve bolts up to that throttle body. So we'll take that hose off. We'll attach our own vacuum to that. Hope that fits tight enough. And we can hear a change in the engine. Yeah, see, it's almost stalled. I lost my data here. Alright, when they let off, the engine smoothed out. Let's get back. For some reason I lost that data screen. Back to a continental. My data stream back up to that EGR kid. Ignition. And I'm going to set this right here. What we're looking for when I apply the vacuum to that thing should jump up. Max value you can go to is going to be 5 volts again. Applying vacuum to that EGR, you should see that voltage climb. There it goes. There you go. See, almost 5 volts. So you know that the delta feedback sensor that looks at that EGR valve is working. Got that. The next thing you have to test is the solenoid. That controls vacuum to that. And that solenoid following our hoses around. It's buried way down here. You can see that thing right there. This part my finger's on right there. That's EGR solenoid the computer uses to supply it. You're going to make sure you got supply volt vacuum to the red hose on that thing. You're going to unplug the vacuum hose. You can hear it. We got vacuum to it. Alright. Then we're going to unplug it right here and make sure that we've got voltage going to that. See 12 volts on this thing. There we go. We're charging voltage, so we're good there. Now, what we'll do is we'll go to the control feed side of that, and we'll supply ground and see if it's able to switch the vacuum over. Get my wire piercer. Connecting to the control side where the computer controls that. Put it in there. There we go. Now we're on it. And now we supply ground to that wire right there, and we should hear that EGR open, and that engine should start chugging again, and it did. So everything's functioning in that system. We don't know why it set that code. Did a misfire cause it? Maybe. So we're gonna, at this point, clear that code, take care of the misfire, and explain to the customer, hey, should this code come back, we'll go to the next step and see if we got this solenoid sometimes operating and sometimes not. That could be happening. And so that's as far as we can take this one. We've got the misfire fixed by putting the coil in it. We found that it was getting water coming off when it rains. All those cylinders had rust in them. That was not antifreeze. Sorry about that, guys. And cleaned them all. You saw me test the power going to one of the coils. One of the ways you got to have 12 volts to drive those coils. And that's fixed. So thanks for watching.